guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the garage. So in the last video, you saw we installed some brake ducts, and I mentioned in that video that I was not happy with the setup, and after installing it, I wanted to go with a different route and change the way that the air was being fed to the back of the rotors. And the new set came in, so it's time to get this old set off and put on the new one. And I want to explain to you guys kind of why I'm making this change and go over some of the differences between the old kit and the new kit, how they fit, why I made the change, and what's going to be better about everything with the new setup. So here we have the two different setups, you can kind of see, but this is the old setup, and this is a pretty cool design, I'm not gonna lie. It's a nice carbon backing with a nice vent, pretty well made, nice and thin. Honestly, no fitment issues, and I was pretty happy with this install. But what I realized is that when I got it thrown on the car, it was facing in the wrong direction, and basically it was pulling all of that air from the front of the bumper straight to a spot that I didn't want it to go to, which is right at the rear of the rotor face. So let me explain to you guys why that is not ideal. So here we have our rotors, and they're gonna sit on the car just like this, as if they were sitting on the car. And the way that the air was facing, the air was blowing straight against this face right here, cooling only this face of the rotor. We were getting no cooling on the outer face. And the issue that's gonna cause is uneven cooling between the two sides, which will eventually lead to a higher stress within the rotor, which will in turn lead to a greater chance of cracking. So with this new design, basically what we're gonna have is air being channeled more inwards here on the rotor, which will go directly into these open veins. And what these veins do is channel air out through the rotors as they rotate, and they pull this air up and out, channeling them through the rotors, cooling both sides of the rotor evenly. So here you can see the new kit, and it's got much more of an inward facing channel. And then it also has a dual second-sided channel that's gonna go behind the rotor on the caliper side and add extra cooling behind the caliper as well. Besides that fact, we also have extra cooling veins, as you can see here, but it still maintains coverage underneath, as you want to keep those bushings clean and you don't really want too much brake dust getting into them. So we still want some coverage, but having this extra slots for extra cooling as well as the dual ducting is definitely a benefit. So like I mentioned, I got these online. I found a guy on the forums, and I'll throw his link up in the description so that you guys can see exactly what the kit's about. He does a really good job at explaining it on his forum post, as well as tons and tons of info, even an install diagram and all the explanations that you could need. So here you see he's got everything for the kit. He does not supply any of the hosing, so you do need to go get your own hosing, but this is everything that I got from him. This is just the backing plates. He also offers scoops, as he uses scoops underneath the front control arm to scoop air. However, I'm using a channel from the front, so I don't need that for now, but we are going to be doing a little bit of a custom solution down the line for the second vent to the caliper. For now, this is just gonna sit empty. It'll be installed, but it'll just be venting, and it won't be used with any ducting. But we will be using this one, which, like I mentioned, is gonna go into the inner channel of the rotor and get better cooling for the rotor in general. So everything you see here comes with a kit. This was about $300 shipped all the way from Sweden. The quality is absolutely fantastic. These are some nice thin metal, very strong. It's definitely gonna hold up. I mean, they don't really need much, it's just a backing plate. And then the ducts are all 3D printed, and they're very sturdy, and I'm very excited for this one. You can kind of see it's a dual duct. So this face here goes through to the backside of the rotor, and then it's got a little bit of extra channeling that goes to the backside of the caliper. Then he also supplies these, which will go on the lower knuckle for your front control arm, and they offer just like a little zip tie down area for you to use to hold the line in place and keep any extra rubbing off if needed. So now that we got the old one off, just came off really simple, let's go ahead and get the new one thrown on, and I'll show you everything that needs to be done. Okay, so the first step is there's an ABS bolt. This is for your ABS sensor in the backside here. It's all the way back here, a little difficult to get to, but basically we're gonna remove that bolt, and he supplies a new one. This is part of the bracket that's gonna be the ducting for the cold side to the back side of the caliper. Now that we have that, we're gonna go ahead and throw it on with the included spacers so that we get the right offsets from here, and I'll show you how the rest goes. Okay, so the first step includes using his provided washers and spacers. We're gonna have one washer here, the first one, This will go into this upper bolt hole. So we're gonna feed this through another washer all the way on the back side. Then the provided spacer onto the back. One more washer, and now we can install this piece. We're just going to slide this around, and we'll screw in this top bolt, not completely, but just enough to hold it and get it in place. Next up, we're gonna also be using the provided hardware, and we're going to be spacing them out from the bottom holes here and over here as well, so that we pull this out about 15 millimeters out so that it's at the correct spacing and it's not, you know, at a chance of rubbing anything or causing any issues. Okay, so now that we have all 1, 2, 3 in, we can go ahead and we're gonna get it into the right place, and then we're gonna set these to 15 millimeters to get the right gapping between the backside here and the plate, so that we don't run the risk of coming into contact with the rotor face or any of that, as well as we don't want to be making any contact or rubbing with the hub. Okay guys, so I went ahead and I actually missed a step. So I went ahead and put this bolt into the lower one, but I didn't realize that's what this is connecting to. So I need to take this back out, and then we can start this lower thread. Then we can do the upper one, and then we can do the one in the back like I mentioned. Okay, so we got everything up and installed. Everything's nice and tight, and we went ahead and threw on the caliper just so that we could make sure we have plenty of clearancing. As you can see, the caliper actually slides between the cooling plate as well as the bracket back here in the back. To hold this one on is just this bolt up here. It uses this hole as well. And then like I mentioned, it has that ABS bolt in the back that we replaced. He supplies a longer one. We have it all secured on here, and you can see the fitment here is absolutely perfect. We still have to tighten these up. I just have them in place for now because obviously we got to throw the rotor back on. But look at all of this stuff, guys. I mean, this looks super, super clean. All of these lines are super, super tight to the hub with just a little bit of spacing so that we get a nice, clean, even line. And we haven't connected this yet, but as you can see on the back side, this is just going to wrap around like so, and boom, we are on. Here we have it coming, and you can tell how it comes so nicely onto the inside of the hub right here. So this is gonna perfectly act with our rotors and channel all the way to the inside of that rotor so that we can get air evenly through the vanes and out. Then like I said, on this side, extra cooling is coming straight directly to the inside as well. Let me see if I can't get a good angle in here. It's a little bit difficult, but there is a second, like I showed you guys, there is a second hub coming right here with a second vent facing right at the back side of the caliper, so that hopefully we can keep these calipers just a little bit cooler as well. I'm gonna get this tightened up. I'm gonna go ahead and get the rotor off, or get the caliper off, and then throw the rotor back on, and we'll be all set. And then we go ahead and get over to the passenger side. All right, so you guys can see we have everything all buttoned up back here. You can see the plate is, I know it's kind of dark. Plate's all buttoned up. We got the line back on, calipers back on, everything's all tightened up. So all we gotta do is put the wheel back on and we'll be ready to go. It's a little hard to see, but let's see if we can't make it happen. If you take a look right through here, you may be able to see inside there. That is actually the venting. You're actually seeing a little bit of the orange in there. That's from the inside of the hosing. So you can tell it's coming right to the inside of this hub, where it's perfectly gonna go through these vanes and out through the rotors and perfectly cool each rotor. Then when you come onto this side as well, it's a little bit harder to see, but it's also inside there. A little further inside actually, but it's also facing the inside of the hub, and it's gonna directly cool everything in the back here. Let's get the wheel back on, and then we can go over and do the driver's side. All right, so we got the second side on. Everything went a lot faster on this side, just because, you know, I already knew how to do it from the first side. So I got my process down, and everything went really, really smooth. So that's what it's gonna look like. We have plenty of clearancing everywhere. Everything's nice and firm and secure. Like I mentioned, we have all these beautiful cutouts perfectly made for this hub. Everything looks good. The caliper clears really well inside here. No issues, and everything fits up perfectly. I'm gonna take the caliper off, get this rotor back on, and we'll get everything buttoned up. I did order a new set of rotors. They are not here yet, but these are pretty cooked. So we've got some bigger cracks here going almost hole to hole. These are pretty cooked. We got 8 days out of them. They're not too bad. Let's see the rear side.
Yeah, the rear's about the same. So we got 8 days out of them. That's really all you can ask for, but I do have a set of 2-piece floating rotors on the way, and they will be here, I think, mid to late next week. So new pads, new rotors, and a bunch of other stuff coming. As you can see, I have a whole slew of parts sitting over here. Let's get the rotors back on. We'll get everything buttoned up, and we'll complete this install tonight. Well, guys, there you have it. We have the new cooling ducts installed on the car. I'm super happy with the way they came out, and I think this is a really good upgrade over what we had previously. So one thing I want to note is that second ducting that you saw that is going to the caliper side, to the backside of the rotor, and also to the backside of the caliper. I don't actually have a plan for a ducting system for that yet, but we're gonna figure something out, and I have a feeling that I'm gonna, come up with some way of mounting a scoop that will basically connect to the lower control arm, and then have some short ducting up to the backside there. A guy on the forum that actually makes these offers a scoop, and his system actually, instead of using the front ducting like this, it actually just uses 2 scoops that scoop from the lower control arm up into the backing plate. Now, I would do that on this car. However, his design specifically is based off of the stock lower control arm. And while I have the stock lower control arm now, I have SPL control arms to go onto the car. We're gonna be doing the full SPL kit. Every single bushing on the entire car will be going to an SPL bushing, as well as a diff lift kit and a bunch of other mods, like I mentioned. Brake rotors, we got some titanium shims and some new pads as well. And we're gonna get all of that as well as a new alignment installed before our next track day coming up in a few weeks. But I wanted to get something that's gonna work with those lower control arms, because I'm worried with the way that he has his mounted up to the control arm, and it just hangs up with zip ties, but it's kind of designed that it sits flush against the control arm, that it might not work on an SPL arm, and it might want to rotate and all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna send him a message, see if maybe he's got a design for it, see what we can do. If not, maybe I'll work something up in CAD and see if I can't get it printed so that I have a system set to use this second duct. For now, it's just gonna sit and it won't really be functional. However, like I said, there is still the front duct and it's going into the correct location now. We're gonna be getting good brake cooling right to the hub. The new rotors that I got are 2-piece floating rotors, so they will have the same features. With the open vanes, plenty of cooling ability. I'm excited to get that on the car. I'm excited that these are, functional and gonna be providing a little bit better cooling than the other system. That being said, I am gonna go ahead and throw those other ones up for sale. So if you're maybe interested in them, let me know. Just send me a message or comment down below, and I'll be happy to get back to you. I'm happy we got everything done. We do have a track day coming up in a little over 4 weeks. We're doing one more lap attack with Apex. I really enjoyed that, and I figure why not go do one more. It's gonna be in mid-June, so it's gonna be like steaming hot. We'll try our best, see what happens. That's part of the reason why I wanted to get this brake cooling absolutely secured away, because I do not want to deal with any issues of brakes on track. Like I said, we did pick up a new set of pads, front and rear, actually, because we're gonna be swapping from the CSG pads that I'm running now to some PFC 08s. I think that'll really help. I'm not sure that they are any better, but they should last longer. So I think we're gonna get some good performance out of them. And I think overall the car is just gonna handle really, really well. Now, like I mentioned, we do have a bunch of parts to go on here. As you can see, we have some down pipes, there's some cooling, full SPL, a Mosselman oil thermostat, as well as some CSF radiators, oil cooler, DCT cooler. I also mentioned that I have the diff lift kit. Would also like to get that on at the same time that I do the SPL bushings, and that will that's definitely going to add some race car vibes to the car. I think I'm going to get like some interior wine from the diff, but I think that'll be really cool. Probably won't be so dailyable anymore, but whatever. It is what it is. Hopefully trying to get all of that done before our next track day. Like I said, the tough part is going to be that SPL install is quite tedious, and then getting that alignment really dialed in is quite a bit of work. We're going to do our best to see what we can do. And then immediately, I think 3 or 4 days after our track event, we are taking a trip up to the Tail of the Dragon. Gonna be some fun, drive some back roads up there, just have a little weekend up there, see what we can do, have some fun. Maybe probably go get some cool photos. Houston really isn't the best for photography or back roads. That's really where this car belongs, is on track or in the back roads. It is literally so good. It handles so well, so much power, so much grip. It's really just
a blast of a car to drive. So like I said, lots coming in the future for the car. I'm super excited for everything that's coming up and everything that is going to be done to the car in the future. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this install, watching me fix, you know, the previous mod that I did that wasn't the best solution. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you did, please leave a like, leave a comment. I'll see you guys in the next video.